It's A39, the 11th of November, and I'm uploading for the interests of mainland Europe that are aware of my plight in Southwest Ireland by individuals that are claiming any entitlement to my credentials with the Department of Agriculture, the Department of Social Welfare and Family Affairs, and the Department of Education, and my attendance with the University of Limerick and other private institutes of third level. So I'm at a level 10 at least on the National Framework of Education, and there are individuals new to this community in the southwest of Ireland that are assisting fraud and forgery, not only with regard to my nuptials to my husband Richard McCalligat, a missing person, but also with regard to the issue of my qualifications that have brought about huge reform and recovery on the island of Ireland and abroad. So I'll reiterate again what I've always said. There has been huge recovery, social reform and judicial reform as a consequence of my experiences, strengths and hopes. And there have unfortunately been individuals masquerading themselves as frauds, taking credit not just from my pocket and stealing money, but also taking credit for my credentials, and that have been using intellectual property that they don't authentically, legally have ownership of. So we've seen a few incidents of corruption from this situation. There have been anti-corruption measures that have arisen, unfortunately, as a consequence of the crimes that have been resolved as a means or an outcome of the crime prevention I'm responsible for. So we all know the role that the authorities had in this matter, and we all know that there is a retaliatory crime being conducted against me by individuals still insisting on causing more repercussions than have already occurred. So these people are suffering from an obstinance and ignorance of the mind, unfortunately, and they've offended my little baby boy, Gareth McCalligat. So there have been unlawful papers issued. My child isn't legally from my care, and there are people living off legislation from me. So it's quite dangerous that the three state departments that I served and the state universities that I've been attending are all being offended due to people without integrity, honourability or common sense or intelligence with regard to the level of effort, time and hours and energy that went into have recovery throughout this circumstance. So those that are coveting from my professional portfolio, those that are coveting and commission crimes against the Roman Catholic Church, the Vatican Church, I have huge concerns for your name and your family. Those that are coveting from not only my nuptials of the 30th of the 3rd, 2015, those coveting from my identity and my ancestry, my royal ancestors, I'm sure have an issue or are taking issue with those that aren't behaving properly or sensibly or respectfully. And as I've said, we all know that Tralee County Kerry has a little issue about its debts that it still hasn't addressed, and these people are still making more debt and they are making more offence. So they haven't been responsible, they have demonstrated very poor leadership, and they haven't been safe in their transactions or engagements or affairs. So that has put us all at risk, and we are all having an experience of suffering as a consequence of people being irresponsible. So those that are inflicting this irresponsible nature on our society and claiming to be of sustainability, no less, sustainability and climate change efforts, that's all very ambitious. But as I've already stated before, it's a little bit over the line with regard to the basics that haven't been tended to yet. So those that are of retaliatory crime are assisting more fraud against my good name, character and reputation. I have concerns for your well-being. Those that have been acting out of place or out of position and not observing protocol, that is a problem. So the P's this morning in the pod aren't sitting so comfortably with more financial fraud from this situation. And as I've said, those that have been exploiting and monetising from the legislation of the three state departments that I've attended and served at since 2003 that also are supported by the state, the universities, the third level educational institutes that I've attended as well, they're all being offended. So that's offending education, academia and intelligence. So those that are comfortable supporting people that have been contaminating society, I have huge concerns for you. The crime prevention that I've conducted with the Victim Support Federation, that addressed and resolved the issue of contamination in society. So those suffering from mental illness and that are causing retaliatory crimes against my good name and not doing what they're supposed to be doing, which would be locating my child and safeguarding my land from frauds and thieves that owe debts to my hand. Those people that aren't doing what they're supposed to do, I have huge concerns for you taking a